En México, mientras tanto, Airbnb anunció que ofrecerá una nueva experiencia o una experiencia exclusiva con el pentapichichi mexicano, Hugo Sánchez, para 10 aficionados que reserven a través de la plataforma de alojamiento y de otros servicios de viaje en línea. La experiencia incluirá una visita junto a Hugo Sánchez a un conocido restaurante de la capital mexicana, un recorrido por las instalaciones de la cantera del Club Pumas de la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México y también la exhibición llamada La Ciudad que nunca ha dejado de jugar. Además, se ofrecerán boletos para el tercer partido de la selección mexicana en el Mundial, esto el 24 de junio, entre otras ofertas. Y fue en ese marco que conversé con el cofundador y CEO de Airbnb, Brian Chesky, sobre las oportunidades que le representa la Copa Mundial a la empresa, los planes de la plataforma para ampliar su operación y, por supuesto, fútbol. Brian Chesky, welcome to Mexico City.
Thank you very much for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I love this city. It is one of my favorite cities in the world. I've been here a couple times before, and it is just a city of wonder and magic.
Yes, and we're only 15 days away from the World Cup, and Mexico is one of the city hosts. Yes, exactly. So, how are the bookings going so far? Have they exceeded your expectations? Are they exactly what you expected?
They've exceeded our expectations. Just to give you a sense, for the Paris Olympics, we had 700,000 guests stay in Airbnb, and that was the biggest event in Airbnb history. Now, the World Cup across the 3 countries is the biggest event in Airbnb history. We have more than 700,000 guests staying in Airbnbs. Here in Mexico, we have about 180,000 guests already booked to stay in Airbnbs. That's equivalent of 2 giant stadiums worth of people. And it's incredible because the average host is making about $1,300 US dollars as real meaningful income, and 7 out of 10 hosts in Mexico rent just one listing, the home they live in.
Is that the same case for every city in the US and in Canada?
The stats are pretty consistent. They change a little bit, but it's very, very similar. And the thing about events is the type of people that put their home up for events are just regular people. They're not businesses. A lot of people only intend to host for a one-time basis to make some extra money. Some of them continue hosting long after the games are over.
Mm-hmm. We've heard some short-term rental owners whose expectations around the bookings for the World Cup are low because they said they expected more, and they point to the high price of the tickets to attend the games. Have you heard that in the case of Mexico, the US, or Canada?
I have not heard that, and I don't know how long ago they told you. One of the things we found with the Milan Cortina Olympics is the bookings were later than expected, more last minute. So kind of a couple months ahead of time, it looked like bookings were slow. It's just that people booked more last minute and it exceeded expectations. I don't overpromise, but we still have 2 weeks. And so it's still possible that many guests will book. So, I mean, if people are watching and they want to put their home up on Airbnb, I think that there's a lot of people looking last minute. So I expect there's going to be, we have 180,000 guests. I mean, for 180,000 guests, that's a lot of people.
Yes.
Those guests, if it was for Airbnb, they wouldn't have come to the World Cup because they wouldn't stay in a hotel because the hotel's already sold out. And the average Airbnb is about half the cost as a hotel for comparable inventory, about half the cost. 70% of listings are under $250 a night. And again, many listings have multiple bedrooms. So it is more affordable than a hotel. And I do expect hosts to be full. They have to charge reasonably. There's sometimes when an event comes, hosts can expect to charge a lot. But we have to remember that people look at Airbnb as an affordable way to travel. So as long as it's reasonably affordable, I think they'll be booked.
Thinking about the price gouging, so to speak, some people have had cancellations on their bookings and then they had new prices, higher prices. How does Airbnb supervise, police that?
It's difficult to police, but we do try to, first of all, hosts are penalized if they cancel reservations. And so we really dissuade hosts from canceling reservations, and they are penalized heavily for cancellations if they don't have a really legitimate reason for cancellations. And we try to, if a guest gets canceled, we do our very, very best to try to find them an alternative Airbnb, to rebook them, to be very generous with credit. So we do our very best.
This is the biggest event you said in Airbnb's history. How did you approach it in terms of experiences of all the services and the packages that you can offer and you thought of?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really one-stop shop. And so the first thing we thought of is, well, first, let's make sure we have enough homes. Let's make sure that we have a really great quality, that we can handle the customer service. But then let's make sure that we remember that people come to a World Cup to have memories, to have experiences. And so we're doing 70 once-in-a-lifetime experiences, including a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience of Hugo Sánchez, who's going to host 10 guests, and he's going to take them through an exhibition, and it's going to be a very, very special experience. So we really try to make sure that it's not just a home, it's an experience. And I think in future World Cups, I'd like to offer even more experiences.
Yes, and how Airbnb is evolving right now. Last week, a couple of days ago, you talked about how you want the platform to change in terms of more services, a one-stop shop, so to speak. What do you want to add, and which markets are ripe for what kind of services?
Well, I mean, we announced a number of services that guests have been asking for. You have a giant kitchen, you have a kitchen at Airbnbs usually. So what if you had grocery stock for you when you arrived? Grocery stocking. Sometimes you get to a city and you have nowhere to store your luggage for check-in, so we have luggage storage. You might want to rent a car, so we have car rentals. You might want to get picked up at the airport. Sometimes Uber is very difficult to get, so now we have welcome pickups, airport pickups. We want to bring all these to Mexico and to Mexico City, and we want to bring even more services as well. So I think this is just the beginning. Airbnb is not just a home, it's services and experiences. Eventually, we will offer more services than any hotel in the world on Airbnb. And the reason why is one hotel can only provide so many services. The Airbnb, with our resources and the fact that we can compile all the services at a city level, we can provide almost any service one day you can imagine. And that's the vision.
This is Mexico City you mentioned, but how about in Asia, in Europe? How different are the traveler? How different is the traveler? What do they look for? What do you know now?
Well, a lot of our business is cross-border, which means travelers come from everywhere. Of course, Mexico, the thing that people don't realize is most of our business is domestic. Mexicans staying with Mexicans. It is very different all over the world. Sometimes price per night, like the cost changes. Sometimes lead time changes. But here's the thing that's most surprised me. If somebody asks me, what has most surprised you? What is the thing you've learned most about starting Airbnb? I would say two things. Number one, statistically speaking, people are good. Most people are good. And that we are all 99% the same. We are. And I don't think most people would believe that. We actually are genetically 99.9% the same. And I think the reminder of that is when you travel. People look different, they sound different, but if you spend enough time with them, they start to feel very similar to you. I think that's one of the missions of Airbnb. And it's very similar to the World Cup. The World Cup brings the world together through sport. Airbnb brings the world together through travel. And I think we have more data than anyone else in the world about people living together, more than any government, more than any business. So if anyone questions the faith in humanity, just know that we sit on more data about the goodness of humanity than any company in the world.
When you talk about the consumer and the new frontier is the consumer AI and everything related to the experience, what do you mean by that exactly? What is that concept in your vision?
I think anything on a screen will be transformed with AI. Anything on a screen. And I think AI is going to be probably mostly good. I am cautiously optimistic about AI. I am not Pollyannish. I'm not a utopiast. But I do think that, it's all about the hands that the tools are in.
Yes.
AI can do so much to democratize education. It can do so much to lift people out of poverty. It can do so much to advance medicine and science. It can do so much in travel to connect the world. As long as it's used correctly in the right hands, then the question is, do you trust the people who are developing the tools? Because it's just a tool. I think people think of it as magic, it's just a tool. But what it won't do for a long time is change a lot about the physical world. The part that will change is robotics. Robotics will mostly exist in warehouses for now, in factories. But traveling will primarily, the physical experience, not be changed by AI. In fact, in the world of AI, people are also going to want the opposite of AI. Real connections with real people in the real world, office screens. So I think Airbnb is a bet on AI because the app and the website will be much more AI native. It will be much more magical. You'll be able to discover much more. But then when you travel, it's going to feel pretty free of AI. It's going to be deeply human.
I was going to ask you about how do you leverage AI in the vision that you have for transforming or evolving the platform in the next 5 years?
I mean, it's so many things. I mean, we just announced a bunch of upgrades. When you contact customer support, now to 40% contexts are solved by AI. The solutions are instant. It's perfect language support in your language. It's read basically thousands or sometimes millions of prior cases to know the exact way to solve the problem. It's a tool for customer support agents. We now have other really cool tools where AI can summarize information for you, and eventually be able to use AI to have a conversation. The AI can be the ultimate concierge, and it will also help hosts become better hosts, create listings. So these are some of the things it can do. It can be the ultimate concierge for guest and host.
Going back to the services that Airbnb is offering and wants to offer, how will you make sure that the Airbnb as a brand and as how the customer knows it doesn't look or is not perceived as unfocused or trying to just get a grip of a lot of things? How are you going to do that?
Well, you need an organizing principle, and our organizing principle is travel and the trip. We're not going into we have one brand. We have one app, we have one type of customer, which is a guest, primarily looking to travel. Sometimes they're looking to live for more than 30 days. And so we want to design the end-to-end experience for people traveling and living. And so that unified idea keeps us from going into a lot of different areas. It's not that a company can't do many things, it's that a company can't do many different things. Like if we were trying to launch rockets, and do travel, and do fashion. Those would be really disparate things that would keep us unfocused. So we need an organizing principle. And for us, the organizing principle is travel and bringing people together and providing an opportunity. And that allows us, and we're building as a platform. So all these services, they're all built on a very consistent platform.
When you travel, when you think about traveling yourself, and that's how Airbnb started, you think about going to a gym, for example, because I know you like bodybuilding, but not everybody is able to give that service to a person who's just there for a couple of days. Or if I have pets, not everybody has a way to have a good experience with pets. So what are those trends that are informing you in terms of the data that you're getting and the likes and the wants of any tourist right now?
Well, let's take the two examples. Let's start with pets. Number one, you usually cannot bring a pet like a dog into a hotel. A lot of Airbnbs you can bring pets into. And not only can you bring pets into, they often have yards, depending upon, obviously maybe not in a dense area like Mexico City, but a lot of Airbnbs have yards the pets can play in. So Airbnbs are generally more pet friendly than a hotel. With regards to a gym, hotels do have gyms, most homes don't. But this year we're going to be launching gym passes where, sometimes if you were traveling, it's hard to find a gym. You go, it's hard to get a day pass. The day pass is really expensive. They want to tour you to try to sell you a membership. You're like, no, I'm just here for one day. So we will make it really easy to go to a gym, to go to a spa, to go to a resort, and we can basically help pre-book it on Airbnb.
We're not going to be talking about hockey, but of course, I'm sure everybody's talking to you about the World Cup. What team are you rooting for, of course?
Well, I'm going to pick two teams. Usually every World Cup, my first team is my home country of America. It has to be. And my second team is where my mom's from, Italy. But since Italy's not in the World Cup this year, I'm going to go with Mexico for my second team.
Okay.
And obviously, not just because I'm here, but I do have a fondness for Mexico. When I remember the 1986 World Cup, I was like 4 or 5 years old. I have faint memories of Maradona, but also of Hugo Sánchez. And he's an icon. I just spent an hour and a half with him with this announcement we have, and I have a real fondness for Mexico. And I think it would be a real incredible, what's the word in America? We call it a Cinderella story for Mexico or America to advance to the semifinals or finals.
Are you planning to be at a match?
I will absolutely be at a couple matches, certainly in New York. I really would love to come back to Mexico City, scheduling permitting.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.